Well, welcome to another Memphis Monday. Today I want to start out with what I think is kind of a funny story. I was out grilling and I was sitting in this chair right here and I thought, you know, this chair is pretty comfortable, but I wish it was about twice as tall. So, well, anyway, I thought I had invented something really good, but of course I didn't. I went to the internet and found out that they've had king-size deck chairs for at least 5,000 years. And so my desire, my ambition for fame and fortune went down the tubes. Well, anyway, today's we're going to build a king-size deck chair, Memphis Monday 87. Let's go look at the prototype. And here's the king-size deck chair. I can get up and down out of it real easy. It's nice and comfortable. Let's take a closer look at it. The chair has a nice little footrest right there. I'm going to make it out of all pine, except for that footrest. I'm going to make that, I think, out of plywood because I don't want that to break off there. It's got just a standard A-frame construction with a curved bottom and curved back. Here I'm just taking the right arm off so I can show you the A-frame. Okay, here's the A-frame. You can't hardly get any simpler than this. This is a 12-degree angle here, and this is a 5-degree angle here, and these are just 2x4s. But let's build these A-frames. You just saw me smoothing out these parts for the A-frame. It's pretty easy. Let me finish these A-frames and we'll go on to the seat. I got the A-frames finished. Got them leaning up there. That's kind of a hassle having them leaning up like that. Let's do that footrest. And we can connect that footrest up to it, and then this thing will set up like a chair. I'll take this footrest apart, and I'll show you how it's constructed. Bracing that the footrest is attached to starts out with a piece of 1x material that is angled right here at 12 degrees, and it's 24 inches long. And then behind it is a 2x2 that is angled at 12 degrees. That's backed up and it's attached with these 5 screws right here. So now you see with that leg angled, angled 12 degrees, that will make the top of that level with the surface. I built up this little jig so I could work on this thing up on the bench. I figure if I could roll around on the ground and do it, I wouldn't need the chair to begin with. Okay, the piece you saw me put in just then was this front piece right here. Now we need to cut this back piece and install it. So the back piece is basically just nailed or screwed into the front piece. The footrest, this is the footrest I took off the prototype, but it's going to be made out of oak plywood, vice pine, because if I put a pine board across here, it will snap right along there when you put any weight on it. So the frame here is going to be painted anyway, so you won't even notice, but I need that plywood for strength. Okay, let's cut this footrest. Okay, I've got to cut notches here for the step to sit in. But since this leg is angled, I'm going to have to make this cut here the corresponding angle. Yeah, I got the footstool cut out. What's next on the agenda is this radius here. Let me show you how I figure that out. Okay, a practical guy would just take the prototype here and just trace it. But chances are when you build your king size deck chair, you're not going to have a prototype. So let me show you how you figure this. You're not going to remember the formula for figuring that radius if you're anything like me. What I've done is I just scribbled it up on the side of my workbench here. So whenever I need it, I can just go over and look at it. Okay, figuring this out is really pretty simple once you get the hang of it. C has a fancy math word, it's called chord, but is the distance that your arc is going to be. It's the length of the arc. That's 61 centimeters. And working in centimeters is, in this case, is easier because math works better in metric. And then X is the height you want the arc to be. In my case, it's 25 centimeters. So here's the formula I like to use because it's easy to remember. It's just square. All you do is square C. So I'll square 61, and I'll get 3,721. And then multiply X times 8. That's 200. And then take half of X. Half of X is 12.5. And so I divide 3,721 by 200, and I get 18.6, and then I add the 12.5 to it, and my answer is 31.1. Okay, in this case, we're only doing half an arc. We're basically just cutting the corners off this piece here. Well, back over here on the prototype, I'm going to take the seat slats off so we can get at the next part. So I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to take this piece out and use it as a template for the piece we're building. Now this piece here is just held in with coated deck screws, big ones. I may put a carriage bolt in either side. I don't think it's needed, but I think maybe the eye kind of expects to see one there. I used the one I took off as a template. Okay, let me go ahead and put the prototype back together, and we'll cut these out. I've decided to go ahead and put these bolts in. I don't think they're needed, but I think, like I said before, I think when you look at this, when you look at the chair, you kind of expect to see bolts, and I think it would be a mistake to leave them out. Well, there's our frame so far. And what I've done is I moved the prototype over on another workbench so we can go over the next part we got to make. The final part of the frame we got to build is this back brace right here that's angled back about 12 degrees and is curved. So let's take this prototype apart and take a look at that part. I know it seems like I'm taking this thing apart a lot, but the fact is I've got to take it all apart anyway to paint it, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, the pickets are screwed into this radius here. That's a radius, but it also leans back about 12 degrees. Let me show you how I got that lean back. Okay, here you can see that this brace is all 90s, and I achieved that lean back by angling. I achieved that lean back by angling the seat framing. So that's angled back 12 degrees, so that when I put this on, it's at 90, but now it's leaning back to give my seat a back lean. Okay, to get this perfect arc, this is the prototype part here. Remember from a few minutes ago, we discovered that you really needed two things. You needed to know how deep the arc's going to be, and you need to know how long it's going to be. And the how long is the C, and the how deep is the X. So I made those measurements, and our how long measurement is 47, and our how deep measurement is 3.6, and those are in centimeters. So just plugging those numbers into the formula, just like I did before, comes out that our radius is 30 inches and 7/8. Now, if you're wondering what is that number that I came up with, the 30 and 7/8 inches, all that is the distance between the pointer, the pivot point down here, the center of that circle, and the pencil. This is the radius we're looking for. The only way you can draw that radius there in a perfect circle is to know this radius here. So now all I have to do is drag my pencil around here. Now I can fine tune this radius here using the belt sander. Now I put the bottom back brace on the prototype, or back on there. So that frame's just about done. So now it's just a matter of screwing down the brace on this one. Well, there's the frame for the prototype, and there's the frame for our project. There's one more thing we need to do for the frame before we can do some painting. Part of the frame are these armrests. So we need to make a couple of armrests for our project. Just like a lot of the other parts, I'm just going to model the handrails right off the prototype. Yeah, I got both frames finished. The reason I'm trying to get both frames done is because I'm going to paint the frames a dark color, and then I'll stain the seat and back a lighter color. I got the frames painted, and I put the seat and back on the prototype there on the right. We deserve a drum roll because we're down to making the last part, the last major part we need to make. Let's go take a look at it. The last major part we need to make here is the main seat brace. This is critical because this brace is really what holds the seat up, and if it's not right, you're in trouble. We got two major issues here. One, it's curved back here, so we have to figure out that radius. And second, it angles down 12 degrees, and so I have to put an angle cut on both ends. So let's get to it. Here's a piece of stock I'm going to use to make this brace. What I'm doing here is figuring out the length of that arc. So I made two little marks here. That'll define the length of it. Now let's figure out X. Okay, we figured out how long our arc's got to be. Now we need to figure out how deep it's going to be. That's pretty simple. I just put a straight edge here and measure. Okay, here's the radius. It'll be going in just like this. But I need to angle it back about 12 degrees. So I'm going to have to clip off. I'm going to have to put an angle at these joints on the end. I'll do that with the chisel. The fact is that this angle is so subtle that this is probably the best way to do it. Tempted to use a sander or a saw. But I don't want to overdo it either. Okay, there's the little angle areas on the main back brace. Let's see if it fits. Okay, it looks like it fits like a glove. I think I'm gonna connect it to these arms with carriage bolts. I decided to go with the carriage bolts. I got some galvanized carriage bolts. I got them in the A-frame too. I'm attaching the top free floating brace now. This is the last step. Let me finish this and I'll show you that top brace. Okay, there's our free floating top brace. Now you can see why I made such a big deal about the radius formula and all that stuff, because all these braces, this top brace, the main brace, and the bottom brace, all have different radiuses. And if you don't get the radius right, then you don't get this nice tight fit right in, right between your brace and the back slat. Well, there's our chair. I don't have to worry about jumping up and down like a jack-in-the-box when I do grilling, because that'll be my new grilling chair. And I got this bonus, nothing wrong with the prototype. The back's not as tall. Made that back a little taller. Well, that'll about do it for another Memphis Monday 87, building the king-size deck chairs. Came out okay. Here's our project piece. Here's the prototype. Sorry about all that business on the radiuses, but knowing how to make radiuses is really important, especially on these deck chairs. So that's all I can think of. So like and favorite and share, and Facebook and Twitter and favorite and all that stuff you do. But most important, what? Make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for watching.